Hey everybody, this is Brad from Johnson Small Engines, better known as the one-hand mechanic. If I can do it, you can too. Today we have here a Craftsman self-propelled 24-inch electric start snow thrower. And I want to show you how to start and operate it in my opinion today. And the first thing I want to show you though is, do you guys ever heard of Aspen 4? 92 octane, no ethanol. It will stay fresh for years in your machine. So if you ever have carburetor problems in your machine and it won't start, then I would highly recommend, once you fix your machine, to go to Aspen 4. First thing you want to do is you want to check the oil, which is here. Quarter turn, pull it out, wipe it off. And then you also have to remember that you have two little divots in the dipstick here. And then you have one over here. Down on the dipstick tube itself, you have two little divots and one here. And you make sure you put them in correctly, because I've seen people get the oil dipstick actually stuck. Twist it, quarter turn, pull it back out again. Definitely check. Now this has just been changed oil, so it's right below the upper dot, which I like to see. That's perfect. If your oil is extremely high, you most likely have a fuel in the oil, and you want to make sure that you smell that oil and make sure it doesn't smell like gas. If it smells like gas, you probably have a carburetor problem. I'll put a whole bunch of links on how to get this thing repaired, but this is basically how to start and operate it. Make sure you have a full tank of fuel. It says here no more than 10% ethanol. And I would highly recommend using the Aspen 4. You have a pull cord here, because you can pull start it. You have the electric starter here, which is your regular house current, and you do have to plug an extension cord in here. And I highly recommend not using anything more than 15 feet long, because you can put a big draw on the electric starter, and you can burn it up if you hold the button too long. So I'd advise not holding that button on for more than a few seconds. Coming around to the controls, you have right here, you have your drive control for your wheels, right here. You have your speed control, forward and backward, and you shouldn't have the drive control on when you're changing gears. So you have to lift up, change your gear, and then put it in. Sometimes it works, a lot of times it won't, because you're binding things up down there. So you want to switch the gears when you're off the handle, and then you have the auger control here. And I highly recommend, when you are blowing snow, to have the auger down 99% of the time until everything gets cleared out of your snowblower, and then you can lift up on it, because you can clog your snowblower if you just lift up on this when you're turning a corner. Always have it down if you can. That'll keep the snow flowing. Down here where we have our controls is manual control for your left and right. And then you want to tilt this right here. You're just going to loosen this up a little bit, and then you can tilt this up and down and lock it in. Okay, to start the machine, you have the controls here. You have stop, turtle, and fast. I usually start it about medium throttle to 3/4 throttle, depending on how cold it is outside. This is your shut-off key. You want to make sure the shut-off key is in. If this is not in, the engine will not start. You have your primer bulb. Depending on how cold it is, I usually will prime this thing. I'm going to only do it twice, because we're in 65, 70 degree weather right now. Prime it 3 times at least when it's cold outside. You have a choke here. You have run and choke. So you're going to put it down for choke, all the way down in the closed position. Now I'm going to go ahead and give the engine a pull. As soon as it starts, you're going to take the choke off. Now this is at about half speed right here. Let it warm up. When it's cold outside, they tend to hunt and surge. Okay, so we're in second gear. Your auger's here. I'm gonna go ahead and hit the auger control down. Now we have reverse. We'll go ahead and put you in reverse. Hit the handle. Let go of the handle. Go into 4 gears. Let go of the handle, the auger handle, when all the snow is cleared. Now this is running as it should. Let me show you down on the throttle controls here. If the engine hunts and surges and you're using the choke in about a half position and it smooths out, you have a carburetor problem, and that's not good. So just keep that in mind. You can get the snow done. So go ahead and, you know, get your driveway cleared or whatever. But if you're running it smooth at half choke, you have a carburetor problem from bad gas, and gas goes bad inside the carburetor in small quantities. Obviously, if you start using Aspen 4 after you repair your machine, then you won't have that problem anymore. I'm also going to show you how to use the electric starter. I'm just using a regular extension cord with a 3-prong plug. Just going to plug it in. This is about 10 feet long, 6 to 10 feet. Just going to go ahead and, again, back in the center, a little bit to 3/4. Now we just ran this, so you probably don't need to use the choke or the primer. Hit the button for a few seconds. Don't go more than like 5 seconds. If it doesn't start in 5 seconds, something's wrong. When you take the plug out, that's pretty much it. And that's pretty much it. Let me go around to the front. Just want to show you right up in the front here. This is a newer style machine that actually has 4 shear pins on them. So you have 1 shear pin here, 1 shear pin here, and it actually is a shear pin comes in 2 pieces. It's a pin plus a clip. You have 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. I would suggest before you go out and blow snow, just make sure they're all locked in. And I definitely recommend using silicone. You don't have to buy anything special. You don't have to buy those polymers that everybody's talking about that'll last forever. Just get yourself some spray silicone, spray it all in and around your augers before you go out and blow snow. It works great. Put it in here for non-stick. Anybody who lives in a very humid climate, you're going to get a lot of wet snow. Put it up in here, and this will help a lot. Now, you must apply it every time it snows, but for just, you know, price of a cheap can of silicone is great. We have a bottom skid plate right here, which should not be actually wearing on the floor. I can't really show you this, but you have skid shoes on the side right here that you adjust to keep this, skid shoes right there that you adjust to keep this plate from hitting the ground. And I do have a video on how to adjust that, and that is something a lot of people will not do, and then they ruin their bottom skid plate. Next thing you know, you're ruining a whole bunch of stuff you're ruining the whole barrel on a snowblower. So keep that in mind. If you need that, I'll put in a link in the description below. I did forget to show you guys, this is a nice handle they have been giving people, and it's on the machine. Always make sure when you put this on back on the machine that you put the handle over here instead of over here, because you don't want anything to happen with your hand being there when you take this off. So this is basically just a stick, plastic. You can use this to unclog the chute. That's what this is meant for. So just make sure when you put it back that you put it back, clip it on like that, and we're good to go. I'm going to put all the links in the description below if you have carburetor issues. If you can't get it running, I have a really good video on a snowblower that you cannot get running. I'll put a link in the description below for adjusting the side skid shoes. If you guys have anything else, just look in the links. I might have it in there for you. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe, share my channel with your friends, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.